Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Surviving UX podcast, where we wanted to squeeze in one last episode before 2023, even though we have been offline for a little while.
Yes, we have been very offline. And I've been on maternity leave, which really puts a kink in things. But I do have some good news to share in spite of not being able to touch my computer except for probably once a week. I read an email the other day that said I have been accepted for the UXPA conference as a speaker in June.
Woohoo!
Yay! So if you haven't heard about this, the UXPA is UX Professionals Association, and they do a conference every year. And this year it's going to be in Austin, Texas in June. So the title of my talk is Rinse and Repeat, Automate Your UX Operations so you can spend time on the work you really love. And
Are
so I'm
you
really
excited?
excited. Yeah,
Were you surprised?
I'm surprised. So for those of you guys who were listening to us back in, I think September, that's when I submitted this, and I really just had to sit down and kind of slap it together, and submit. And somehow it got accepted, even though it got reviewed by 9 peers, and the reviews were not all positive. So we're going to get into some of the
9.
critiques
Wow.
on my proposal, but it's good because now I'll be going in with a little bit of a wider, clearer eyes, and try to make the session work for people who gave me some of this negative feedback. So that'll be good, a true UX challenge. But I want to talk a little bit, first of all, Meg, you have presented at UXPA. Do you remember
I
what was your session about?
My session was about, um, wow, it was with Krishna, who we had on the show before, and it was about single page applications and designing around some of the parameters that we were kind of experiencing for the first time. And that's essentially where you have a website where it's not as if the page is like reloading every time because it's a brand new page that it's bringing up, but it's like you need to think about it in terms of the wow, it's been a long time, but you need to think about the experience in terms of the different stages or the different paths that a person might take as if it was a traditional web page, but some of the background architecture is not working that way. And the reasons people would do that are like because it's more performant. I should really go back and know this a little bit more, but my experience was pretty great. I enjoyed doing it with a partner. I think that takes some of the pressure off. So Jessamyn, I applaud you for going solo. Yeah, and I guess I just remember being like pretty nervous running up to it. So like my hope is that you get a
Mhm.
time slot that's early on in the week, like maybe on the Tuesday or Wednesday or
Mm,
whatever. However, I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is the conference, like, so that you can just like go
yeah.
to the rest of the sessions and like just relax and enjoy.
Yeah,
So that's my hope for
it's
you.
gonna be the first day.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
so that I didn't even think about that actually, but I'm looking, the conference dates are June 20th through 22nd. My talk is on the 20th, so that'll be good.
Perfect.
I'll get it done and then I can relax and eat snacks.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah,
But
that's
it
my
has been a
plan.
number of years, so I'd be interested to know. And it is now my 2023 maybe mini goal is to see if I can join you there, and maybe we can record not quite a
Yay.
live episode, but a episode of Surviving UX on location and in person, which would be so fun. So. So I'm gonna be strategizing how I can get to Austin in June.
Oh my God, it's gonna be
So
hot.
so tell us more about the topic and about what you're talking about, but of
So
course,
when I, yeah.
leave some spoilers for the actual talk.
I mean, yeah. So this talk is really, when I sat down to think about the places that I've been, either feeling the most pain or made the most progress this year, it was really around operations. And we have a small team, it's me and a couple other folks. So, it's 3 people, sometimes 2 people on the team. And that's our just, small local team. And then obviously we have lots of designers that are employed at in our organization and everything. But in terms of team, it's a small group of designers, and when folks come in, everybody's gonna got their own process. And one of the things that we were feeling was just the churn of what does the UX process look like, and what are we delivering to these various product managers and engineering teams. And it's going to be slightly different if you work with me versus if you work with so and
Mm.
so.
Mhm.
And people ask, well, how long is this going to take? Because a lot of times the conversation it'll be like, hey, we want to ship this feature and we're going to ship it on November 15th. And so when can you get those designs ready for us? Here, how about July 15th? And I'm sort of like, it is like June 1st, and I'm hearing about this project for the first time,
Mhm.
and I would love to be able to accommodate you, but gee, like, what can I really promise? And is it wise for me to say, yeah, yeah, we got you, we can do that,
Mhm.
6 weeks, you know, and assuming that I can start today and drop everything, and sometimes that's what people expect, but I a lot of times this has been sort of a slippery topic because it sounds like a lot of time. Hey, you have 6 weeks to sit down and put together a design project for us.
Mhm.
That should be plenty of time, right? Like, how much time do you really need?
Mhm.
And I'm like, well, if I go back and I look at how much time we took when we were delivering our other projects, 6 weeks is a dream. Because projects will linger on, they'll
Oh,
churn
yeah.
away, they'll get started, and then they'll just keep on going for months. And it's not what anybody wants, really. And so it's like, well, if you want to get to that place where you can confidently say, no, not 6 weeks, but how about 7? Or how about 12? And here's why. You
Mhm.
want to be able to say why you need those 12 weeks and defend that, right? So, because I think what I find is that a lot of people just don't have that visibility into the UX process. They
Mhm.
just see, they're like, okay, give us some mocks, but they don't see the background, the iteration, the interviews, the testing, what have you. They don't see all that stuff. So they don't
Mhm.
get it that that's part of the process. And so it's like your job as the designer to kind of package all that together. So anyway,
Yeah.
the reason I picked up this topic is because, geez, after a decade of doing design, this is still a challenge for me and for potentially others. And people are good. Everyone's professional. Everyone's delivering. But it's not like I can. I'm always impressed when, like, I don't know if you've had this experience, if you talk to like a contractor and they look at your, bathroom or whatever renovation project, or a mechanic, and they say, all right, this is going to take 4 days and it's going to cost $3,000. And they can just look at it and, maybe they're BSing me, but at least they have an answer for me. And I've always
Mhm.
been impressed with that. And that estimation, I want that. And so I think part of the goal here is to be able to say, well, our team needs X amount of time and X amount of resources and a work in progress limit of whatever to get this done. And if you
Mhm.
can't say that with some confidence, I don't think that's good. But I guess I want to leave room for style, but um,
What do you mean leave room for
whatever.
style?
I mean, some people are like, hey, I really want to spend time on this sexy deck, or
Oh,
I
yeah,
really want
yeah.
to spend time on. I don't want to interview 3 people. I want to interview 8 people, or
Sure,
whatever.
sure. Yeah.
It's like, okay, fine, whatever. Do your
Yeah.
thing. Make those diagrams or whatever you have to do. Um, or some people may be like, I'm not doing that. I'm skipping right over that stuff. I'm not sketching. Okay, fine.
Mhm.
So anyway, so that's kind of what I mean by style. But the idea of this session is to operationalize your process. Now, granted, I'm speaking about this as sort of a smaller scale because I'm just doing this for myself and my team of 3. I
Hmm.
have not done this for a big team. But I guess for you, Meg, like in your experience, what does design ops mean for you? And like how have you either loved or not loved design ops in terms of
Hmm.
like your own process?
Well, one thing that you were like when you were describing your brand new information that they didn't anticipate, or the
Mm,
engineers are going to say, well, it actually
mm-hmm.
doesn't really work that way. And you have to go back to the drawing board. And it's like, well, yeah, UX and design, we could do these things. Like it does seem like a lot of time, but it's often the time that we're spending on it
Yeah.
discovering things that we didn't know before. And the only way we're
Mm-hmm.
discovering those is through the design process.
Yeah.
So it's real messy. It's real messy. So I think in some cases, so I feel like it's hard to, I feel like it's hard to operationalize unless you are also building in time and moments, like space to account for the fact
Yeah.
that you're gonna encounter something that you didn't know before, or
Right.
you're that kind of thing. And so it's kind of like, well, how much of that do you build in when you're giving these estimates? And when you're talking about like contractors, like I'm kind of thinking like, well, how many people have actually come in and actually done
Yeah.
stuff on time? And around here too, we had like, I think we had a quote that was like for our air conditioner that was like 6 days, and it ended up being like 4 weeks, and then really it didn't end up getting done for months. But anyway, I digress. My air conditioning
Mm-hmm.
is great, and I would have waited for it.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, and nobody wants to
No,
hear like this is going to take 4 months, right? Like nobody wants to hear that, but that's the truth. And would it's like, would you rather hear the truth? Like your project is going to take 6 months or 8 months? Because seriously, that is how long projects can take. You can be working on that thing for months, and if something goes wrong, they're knocking on your door to come back and fix it, and it doesn't matter if you're busy with something else. You own that thing, so you got to go back to it. And then you're compromising your time on the new project that you're working on. So, I don't know. The idea of like a handoff is good. But realistically, like there should be almost like a line item for post handoff tweaks or something
absolutely.
where you're going back to
And
it.
when you
But in terms of process, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and when you were saying like on June 1's first time you heard of this project, and they're like expecting it by July 15th, that it's like you're always on other projects that are just finishing up, or that they need to pull you back into to take a look at or redo something. So it's not as if you can just go in and devote your attention to this one project, because
Right.
our jobs are such that these projects stretch on for so long in many cases. In some, probably in some environments that's not true, but in my recent experience
I've
it can be,
never seen that not be
these
true.
projects can be very long. um yeah.
But I want to ask you about process. Like, how dear do you hold process? Do you feel like I have my process, I follow my process no matter what? Or like I'm always up for like a new process. I'd like to change it up and tweak things.
Mm, gosh, I don't know. I'd like to think that I'm flexible. Probably
Hmm.
I'm a little less flexible than I should be, because there are certain things that like work for me, and there are certain things that like I know irritate me.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
like like when like I think we've talked about this at length before, but I don't care for making like beautiful decks. I just don't, and so
Hmm.
I will not be eager to spend
Yeah.
time doing that if that is part of the process that I'm experimenting with.
Yeah. Well, I think that to me is a candidate for our optimization then, or
Mhm.
optimization, like automation. So it's
Mhm,
like, hey,
mhm,
I don't want to make a sexy deck for every project. So
mhm.
I'm going to make one sexy deck or one unsexy deck and then reuse at 90% of that deck so that I'm not having to do this every time. So I want to jump into a couple of the critiques
Mhm.
that I got just so that we can enjoy them. So when you submit a proposal for a UXPA, you get reviewed by peers who vote to accept or reject your project or your proposal. And I, just got an email that was like, hey, congratulations, you've been accepted to the conference. And I was like, woohoo. And I did not realize that until I just went through and read all the reviewers' feedback, that not every reviewer wanted to accept my proposal, that several of them wanted to reject it, which I am entertained by. Um, and so a couple of
Bef-
the comments. Oh
Before you
yeah,
get into the comments, I have a couple
yes,
of comments. One
yes.
is love how bold you are to share, and also that you think this is super fun to go through these, because I think sometimes they can hit, they can
They
hit
can
hard.
they can sting.
Um,
Absolutely. But where's the
the
fun in hiding
Yeah.
that?
The other thing is, did you say nine
Yeah, dude. I
reviewers?
was surprised. I thought that everything had to be reviewed by two people, but I'm scrolling through here and it says review, bling, 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 bling.
Maybe
So let me, yeah,
lots of people
one,
had time on their hands this year. I don't know.
6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, nine folks weighed in on
That
this.
that surprised me. And
Yeah.
is it and then for UXPA for this one, was it binary? Was it accept or reject, or were there other things that they could
No,
put,
there
like
were
accept
lean
with?
to, yeah,
Okay.
lean to accept and lean to reject. And I got a couple lean to rejects. I'm seeing
Mhm.
two here. So let's start with those lean to rejects. I got more, three lean to rejects. So out of nine, three lean to rejects. Um, okay, so let's look at these lean to rejects. One person didn't really have any comments. They just said, how would you classify this submission? And they wrote, I am not sure. And then they wrote, how would you make it better? And they wrote NA. And I'm like, okay, well, that's real valuable. But this one says, I wish this submission hits on the pain points that many UX professionals have, the lack of design or research ops. So we have some exposure to design and research ops, but we don't have direct support necessarily. So that's a pain point for me. What about for you? Do you have a design ops person that supports you or a research ops person?
Not not exactly. We do have, project management support in some
Ooh.
capacity, but not, there's no one that has a design ops role that I know of.
Mhm. I mean, that's the thing is this is a luxury in my mind. And maybe people who are benefiting from this don't need this session. So that's fine. I bet though there's plenty of designers out there who still don't have op support
Yeah,
in one
and
capacity
also
or another.
I'm gonna be a little crass here maybe, but, like, this person maybe was reviewing prior to some of the massive layoffs that went on in the fall of 2022.
Mm,
And I do think you're right. I think these kinds of roles are sometimes seen as luxury roles, and I would wonder maybe,
mhm.
how those survived or not during that time.
Very good question. Very good question. Okay, so then they said, I wish you expanded on the solution to this pain point beyond tactics like spreadsheets and templates. Why do UX professionals spend so much time on status updates and back and forth churn? How
Mm,
could they manage these parts of the process more effectively? So, I think I'm what like this person obviously wants to get to something deeper than just like a band-aid solution. Like, hey, you've got to
mhm,
do a status update every week. So what's a good way of doing status updates versus like how do we get away from status updates altogether or just make them more effective to begin with versus like here's a really complicated spreadsheet you can, entail. So I think that's fair feedback. I don't necessarily know how to answer it, but I guess in my mind, like there's always going to be some quote drudgery or drudge work that you have to do, and you can mechanize it away, or you can spend lots and lots of time on it, and you have to decide what can you live with. So
mhm,
I like this question. I guess in
mhm.
terms of back and forth churn, what's been your experience like when you are doing a project on and you experience churn? What's usually the cause of the churn?
Brand new information that hasn't been, like, surfaced,
Okay.
yet. You know, I think it goes back to what I was saying before, just like stuff we didn't gather about engineering capacity or engineering realities, um,
Yeah.
or even like maybe we think something's possible and it, technically is possible, but there is going to be, substantial resistance.
Hmm.
So that becomes a new reality and a new parameter that we have to work under.
Hmm.
Or it could be things that come out of like research where we've said, okay, well, this is our like uh, best guess, and we put it forward, and we're thinking really positively, and we're thinking stuff's going to come back. But then, like, we're like, oh crap, like nobody actually clicked on it, or nobody understood any
Hmm.
of the language here, and now we need to go back and go 40 rounds of like, do we use this noun or that noun?
Hmm.
Um, so I think
Yeah,
that is some of the stuff that creates churn, and I don't know how you get around that. I think the way that you have to go into it is like just with an attitude of an expectation that that stuff's going to happen, so that when it does happen, you're not just
exactly.
completely grumpy as all.
Blown away.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think I love that. So the other day I was chatting with a friend and I was admiring her beautiful houseplants, and she was like, "Oh, you like my plants, but my mother-in-law is like a plant guru. Her house is filled with gorgeous plants." And so I was asking her like, "What do you do to get these plants? Like keep them from dying, take care of them, blah, blah, blah." And she told me, she's like, just expect that about 25% of your plants are not going to make it. They're
Mm,
just going to die. And I was like, wow, that's like wisdom right there.
mhm,
Just
mhm,
expect that no matter how much love you pour into these houseplants, some of them are going to die. And I think that I love that so much. It's like, hey, expect failure, expect mess,
mhm,
expect confusion, expect stress and whatever, build it in. And I think that we don't give ourselves enough leeway sometimes to, allow account for that failure rate or whatever it is. We designs are not going to work the first time, nor should they be expected to be. I
mhm,
think that's a real um like an illusion
mm, mhm.
that a designer's going to hand off something and the first draft is going to be good to go. You wouldn't expect an author to publish the first draft of their book
Mhm,
without a team of editors and reviewers, and design is the same way. People are going to take a stab at it. They're going to, throw stones at it, whatever, and it's going to fail somewhere at some point. So, yeah, it's just expected. I think it's not a bad thing. I think it's actually kind of fun to see, to watch your design fail.
Ideally, yeah, ideally, some amount of deliberation, some amount of like, inserting multiple opinions and critiques, just like we're doing here,
Yeah.
in a meta way, looking at your critiques, like it should improve it. It just will take time. It will take extra
Hmm.
time. So,
Right. I wanted to share one more quote that I loved about critiquing this proposal. And the reviewer wrote, "I really like the title, but unfortunately, even though I think this topic is important, I might not be drawn to this type of presentation. It is bad enough having drudge work to do. It might be worse to spend an hour hearing about someone else's drudge work." I loved this quote. I just thought, gosh, drudge work. It is drudge work, but that's the whole point, is that it's like minimizing the drudge work. But I guess maybe there's fun in that. I don't know. I do you get a kick out of like making systems for things? Like I personally internally get a kick if I can take chaos and organize it somehow.
mhm,
That gives me a little kick. Like, I'll just give you an example. Around the house, we made the discovery that our kids can't reach a damn thing in this house. And that if they can't reach it, that means we have to get up and go get it for them. And this includes like snacks and utensils, cups, plates, bowls, etc. And so after like the 8 millionth time of getting up to get my 4-year-old like a plate, I was like, you know what? What if we put the kids' plates and cups down low?
Mhm.
And it sounds like just so obvious, but it's like they can't fix themselves a damn bowl of cereal in the morning. And so I was talking about this with a friend who has 6 kids, and she's like, "Yes, put their food down low so they can get to it." And so we made a little box and we put the cups and bowls and plates in there, and they freaking love it. And I am just like flying high on my own brilliance of this change in our household. And that's the same kick I get when I'm like, hey, this part of my job is really paralyzing and painful. Like for me, it's research reports. They're so valuable. I love having one done, but it's sort of like exercise. Like doing
Mhm.
it is really hard. Having it done, I'm like, oh, don't you want to read my research report? Check out this research report. Hey, everybody, 30-minute meeting to share out my research. And I really struggled to write those reports. And so I made myself a little template just to overcome the pain of getting started on them. And I am just super proud of myself for these little templates that I've made. I mean, so what about you? I mean, when you hear the like design drudge,
Mhm.
what's your design drudgery?
Well, one thing that I guess maybe I've, like, overcome because now I like doing it is, like, I used to hate, kind of, like, capturing my work in a task management tool, and right now I use Jira, but there are many out there. I
Mhm.
used to hate doing that. I used to, like, be like, "This doesn't this doesn't work for me. This is very tedious, like, I don't like
Yeah.
doing it." And now I every Friday, I do a little cleanup, I write a little, like, message to myself about, like, what I did, and it's all for me. It's not
Mm.
all for me, that's not true. A lot
Mhm.
of it's for tracking purposes for our, like, overall team, but a lot of the little things I do are, like, just for me, um, and I don't know exactly what changed about it, but I think what it is, like, I just made it just, like, slightly more fun in some way.
Yeah.
And so now it's like if I don't do it on Fridays, I'm a little bit like kind of like I don't feel like I've closed my week out.
Mm.
And so so that's one thing that I feel like I've overcome where before I was like tracking design work in Jira like this is like an absolute pain in the ass. And now I do it for everything. Um,
Mhm.
so I guess I've
I
overcome
think
that.
this is exactly what I'm after is what can I pat myself on the back about? You know, and I can't I realized a while ago that I can't pat myself on the back for attending meetings. I can't pat myself on the back for, doing like admin like answering emails.
Mhm.
Nobody gives a rip if I sat in on that meeting or I answered that email. Well, I guess the person who got the email back, but I or checking my inbox or something like that. And I sort of realized, that some of these things were really low value, but that I had something inside of me that felt so obliged to do them and prioritize them higher for whatever reason, who
Mhm.
knows. Maybe it was like saving face or being like showing respect to my coworkers, like, oh, you invited me to this meeting, so I'm going to be there, even though I really could use the time to get whatever else done. And so there was a lot of like overcoming that mindset that like, hey, I'm more valuable to you if I don't attend your meeting or I don't read these emails. I'm more valuable to you in terms of delivering something. And how do I make that come first? And it's very, as a pleaser, as somebody who wants to please people, it's
Mhm.
very, very hard to push those things to the side or to minimize them and then focus on really, really delivering what needs to be done and putting that first. Because those other things feel good, they feel easy. Like I just have to dial in, and listen
Mhm.
to these engineers talk about whatever they did last week, and but it's not really, it's interesting, but it's not necessarily helping me move forward. I don't know. So I guess the drudgery idea, like, that's I want to get away. I want to get away from the drudgery. I feel like anytime there's drudgery, that's like the opportunity. That's the moment where everything crystallizes and then you dream up something that will take away the drudgery. Either eliminate it, delegate it, minimize it, simplify it, automate it, whatever. But anytime you're feeling that feeling of like,
Mhm.
I hate effing S, like this, that's the signal from within to tell you like this stinks. It needs to change.
Yeah. Well, I will say that I think that commenter had it right on though, and I will say that I think your title is quite lovely and inspired. So I hope it does attract
Yeah.
people to come to your session and get some
Well,
more context around
yeah.
this issue.
I may change my title to UX drudgery, like, or
Oh no,
something.
I
Let
loved your title.
me know
Oh,
if you like rinse and repeat. Well, let's move on. I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but do we have time for a few quick rapid fires?
yeah, since it's the end of the year, we thought we would do maybe some rapid fire between us, just the two of
Yes.
us. We
Okay,
usually do it with
so
our guest.
yes, but aren't you curious, audience, about what Meg thinks about, since she's usually the one who asks these questions to our guests. So this week, Meg, we're going to ask you, I want to hear, what is the app experience that you have encountered lately that isn't the worst?
Yes, yes. So looking back on 2022, haha, I almost said 2023. Looking back on 2022 and just all the things that have been going on in my life, I want to give a shout out to my healthcare app, or not app, the website, for finally in this year uh, creating a experience where and launching an experience where I can file claims online instead
Ugh.
of the way that they did it. And now I feel like I've talked about this before on this app, but clearly it means, sorry, on these episodes, but clearly it means so much to me. And I would like to also say that this is not a feature available in the mobile app yet, and why the heck not? So there's still a lot of work to be done there.
Mm.
Um, so
This is truly, to me, the pinnacle of success when I can get something done while I'm holding my baby in one hand and I'm
mhm,
holding my mobile phone in the other hand.
mhm,
And I'm often holding the mobile phone with my left hand, my non-dominant hand, and I'm
mhm,
using my thumb. And if I can pay a bill or answer a message or look something up or solve a problem with my thumb, with my
mhm.
left hand while holding a baby, that's a win. That's a
Total win.
huge win.
Total win.
And
Which
the other day I asked myself, could I get a master's degree and do it on my phone with my thumb? Could I do it? I can buy a house with my thumb. I can buy a car with my thumb. I can apply for a mortgage with my thumb.
mhm.
Could I get a master's degree with my thumb? So that's the challenge for in 10 years I should be able to do this.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I wanna
so
I
yeah.
wanna give us honorable mention just because this relates. An honorable mention would be, the fact that I've been using the text to speech and, like, Siri a
Mm,
lot this year because, again, it's like, if I'm holding a baby, like, and I don't wanna grab for my phone, I can just,
yeah.
send text messages and stuff. It's pretty grand.
So you
So,
don't have to touch the phone, you just tell it to send the message?
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I haven't even tried this. I'll have to try it out.
Yeah, maybe we can even get master's degrees like that someday in the future. Maybe for
Absolutely.
our
I don't have to
kids.
touch anything. Oh my gosh. We are predicting the future right now. That is the future. They just talk it out. Ugh. Let's see now. What is our next question? A fancy or funny word or concept from UX or HCI that people outside the profession may not know.
So, since this is rapid fire, I am gonna go with the thing that just popped in the top of my head, even though it's super boring. It's the acronym ROW, which in my world means rest of the world. And it's
Hmm.
and I guess what so the other day I realized I'd been not working for a couple of days because of the holiday, and we have a couple of extra days off, so we're not in the office right now. And I saw it on something totally random, I can't even remember, and my brain did the thing where instead of reading it like the word row, like I row a boat, I read it as rest of the world, and it was in fact that meaning, like it was using it in that way. And I think it's just super interesting to think about, like, when your mind encounters these acronyms when you first maybe start a job that has like a
Hmm.
lot of weird acronyms and things, and like you don't know what they mean, but then at some point your mind just like changes, and now when you see that those letters together, it has a totally different meaning. And then the other thing that's interesting about this particular acronym,
Mm.
I think, is that like it just shows how country focused we may be, and that might be in, that might be like for a company that's not based in the US, might be used to mean like the US. But in my experience, since I've only been a employee in the US for companies that are predominantly based here, even though they have workforces everywhere else, it's kind of like, well, we build, we short-sightedly often build or think about certain experiences that we can release. And then, like, another release down the line is our ROW release, our rest of the world release, to
Mm.
make sure that it's, localized in certain languages, or if there's, a certain legal requirement in a different country, or even if we want to do something different with the UI. And
Hmm.
just kind of like another reminder that, like, it is great that we're designing and thinking about these things, but like an acronym like rest of the world really does put whatever is in that category as a
Yeah.
secondary or tertiary thing. So
Yeah.
anyway, so that's one of the, I don't know, have you ever heard
Rest
that
of the
before?
world. I have
That
never heard
ROW?
that
Okay.
before. No. So
It was,
basically the idea is that like the primary audience is the US English speaking, and then ROW is every other user bundled together
yeah, or maybe,
in a group.
like maybe you do like like there's other acronyms like EMEA and APAC
Yes.
for Europe, Middle East, and Asia, and then APAC is Asia twice? No, Africa, sorry.
Africa. No, it's Africa.
And then APAC
EMEA,
is
right?
Asia and the Pacific, and like, um, so maybe those will be bundled in one of your first releases. And so it means different things in
Mhm.
different projects for me at least, but it does
Interesting.
denote that there's like this, like these levels of what you release and to who. So,
Hmm.
yeah,
Interesting.
that's my funny or
Wow.
fancy word that might maybe not
Gosh, that
everyone
is a
knows.
new one for me. I'll be looking out for that one. Okay, so then thinking ahead to the week ahead, we are at the end of the year here, so the first week of the new
Whew,
year. What
yeah.
is one do and one don't you are keeping in mind for the week ahead?
I think when we come back from holidays like this, winter holidays, like there's just such a sense of like hitting the ground running, right? Because like people take this
Hmm.
time off and then people come back and it's just like, oh my gosh, what didn't we get done in December? What didn't we get done in 2022? And there's just like a fervor. And so I think my do and my don't are maybe related, which is like try to not buy into that frenzy and just kind of be at peace and be like,
Hmm.
there's plenty of time in the year to get all of these things done. There's nothing that needs to
Hmm.
happen this week. It's going to be okay. And so that's my don't. And my don't is to buy into the frenzy. And then I guess my do is to kind of do things to help me to manage that and like manage other people's expectations around me. So, like,
Hmm.
set up good, like, kind of like what we've been talking about this whole episode is like good expectations around like
Yeah.
what work is going to get done, and like when is it actually going to get done by, because it's not going to get done in the first week of January. So that is my advice to everyone, is take a breather.
Yes.
It's not going to get done in the first week of January.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Focus on yourself. First week of January. If you focus on what your coworkers are doing or where they are, the half of them are still on vacation. Yeah, you're gonna drive yourself nuts. But yeah, I definitely have been kind of talking myself about this stuff too, because I've been stressing about the end of my maternity leave and thinking about returning to work, and coming, like, how I'll come back, and will I be up to speed? Is it going to take me a long time, or whatever? And I'm telling myself, yes, it is going to take a long
It
time.
is going to
Yes,
take some time.
it's going to be, you know, different. I'm not going to be in the same mindset. I'm going to have distractions. I'm going to have, you know, my little baby crying, and I'm going to need to like give myself some grace for the first few weeks or months as I adjust, and it won't be just like I'm snapping back into place. And if I have that expectation, I'm just going to make myself miserable. So I need to I need to chill,
Yes.
and you know, just like a new member of the team coming onto the team, you know, people don't expect them to just start churning things out immediately. Like, take it slow, take your time. I'm going to do this too. And, you know, don't psych myself out because I don't want to burn out. I haven't had great reentries in the past coming back from maternity leave, just to be honest. I've been depressed or sad or whatever, distracted, and it hasn't been the best time of my life, to be honest. So I think of what I'm gonna expect is that it will be hard. I need
Yeah.
to tell myself it will be hard, and I'm gonna have to probably tell my coworkers like, hey, you know, if you need something from me, don't sit around in silence, resenting me. Just please tell me, beat me over the head because I will need it. I will need that support.
Yeah, requires a
Yeah.
lot of grace and leniency with yourself. So I wish that for you whenever your first week back is, and for everyone
Ooh.
else when they get back to work as well. Wish that for all folks in 2023. And just to our listeners, thank you so much for joining us in 2022. And we're looking forward
Yes.
to another season coming up here.
Yeah. Thank you to all of our listeners this year. We have had such a fun year recording this podcast, and we're definitely looking forward to 2023, new guests, new topics, and we'd love to hear from you. If you need any advice or sympathy for your UX career, write us at survivingux@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Surviving UX is hosted and edited by Jessamyn Edwards and Meg Kramer. Our theme music is, among other things, the on-hold music for Cisco phones, Opus No. 1 by Tim Carlton and Derek Deal. I'd say that we'd see you in 2023, but due to some technical difficulties, we've released this New Year's Eve episode in January. Sounds about right. So instead, see you next time in Season 3.